This conference will now be recorded.
Well, let's try this one. The last one to try.
That worked.
Oh, wonderful. Well, that could be here. I can turn this down. I have no idea why these change. All right.
So there is nobody.
No, it appears they can hear us now.
If you want to just announce again, Mr. Mayor. that
Uh,
the public
yeah.
comment.
Does anybody want to make a public comment at this time online?
And they can hear us now, so we're good.
Okay, seeing none, can I have a motion to close public comment?
Second.
All in favor? Moving on to item 6, ordinance for public hearing and adoption, ordinance 2025-12, an ordinance of the Township of Chesterfield in the County of Burlington, New Jersey, establishing a memorial bench program. Can I have a motion to open the ordinance for public hearing?
No.
It's just up for introduction.
Oh, my bad. I apologize. I
Should
didn't
be
change the heading from last time. My bad. I apologize. This is just introduction.
Okay, can I have a motion to introduce ordinance 2025-12?
Motion.
All in favor? Aye. When will this?
That public hearing will be this December. When is that meeting? The 11th? December 11th will be the public hearing.
Moving on to the resolutions, resolution 2025-11-01, resolution to cancel taxes due to veteran exemption for 33 Sprague Street, known as Block 202.10, Lot 9. Can I have a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to resolution 2025-11-02, resolutions authorizing appropriations transfer. So these all transfers are something that the CFO has requested.
In order to pay the bills that are there tonight, the transfers have to happen. So these are items, I mean, we had the money in the budget, they just have to be moved from one line item to the other.
Can I have a motion to approve resolution 25-11-02?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. The next one, resolution 2025-11-03, resolution appointing Sherry Hurd as crossing guard. And I read the resolution, the chief has approved it, and we are all good. Can I have a motion to approve resolution 2025-11-03?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to 2025-11-4, resolution requesting permission for a dedication by rider for donations memorial bench program. Can I have some background to this? Is this something different?
This is a mechanism for a special fund. This bench program, the proceeds would be put in its own fund, and then we can spend from that.
Okay, so the donations memorial bench program is going to be a separate line item. So anybody who makes a donation, is making it to that memorial bench program.
It'll be held in its own fund. It won't be commingled with it.
And
Similar to the gardens,
What's that?
similar to where we landed on the garden? On the community gardens?
Yeah, any of those recreation fund, those types of funds are used by wider funds.
Can I have a motion to approve 2025-11-04?
Motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor? Aye. Resolution 2025-11-05, resolution authorizing execution of Form WQM 003-T as required by the NJDEP for TWA application for New Jersey Department of Corrections. Can we get some explanation for what this is?
Very little explanation in detail, but the prison is doing work on their sanitary system for the sewers. And it turns out that one of the forms for their process has to be signed off on by the actual municipality. The prison itself cannot do that authorization. That's why they're asking for the mayor of the township to sign off on it. I know Karen has had conversations last week when I was gone about whether or not you would be exposed to any expenses. I understand that's very clear enough.
Yes, and I did ask them to make sure that we have an updated 5-year plan. This isn't committing us to anything, and it could quite possibly be that whatever they're doing is under the threshold that they have to get the approval from us anyway.
We do appreciate the running the sewer system for us. And, it's a big benefit for this town, but at the same time, kind of strange that they own the whole thing and they have to ask us to complete a form. But we need to do what we need to do to support them at this point in time. So can I have a motion to approve resolution 2025-11-05?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Resolution 2025-11-6, resolution for the Township of Chesterfield appointing a municipal housing liaison. Again, this was something that we do want a liaison, municipal liaison for.
We're required regulations, and I'm your guy.
All regulations.
Proud to serve.
Yes.
Thank you for that. Can I have a motion to approve resolution 2025-11-6?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The bill list, I did go through the bill list. I did have one clarification, and I think Karen did provide that to me, and that was, we did get our backhoe, and we had a payment for that. And so I also heard that we did get the street sweeper also. So we are now making those payments, and that was one clarification I requested.
I don't think that's on there.
I don't know if any one of you have any other questions on the bill list. If not, can I have a motion to approve the bill list?
Just bear with me a second.
Second.
I just waited here.
No, I just want to clarify that we're not paying for the sweeper in this bill list. Oh, okay, when you made the comment that we're paying for that, I just wanted to make it clear that it's not in this bill list.
But I was happy to know that we
Okay.
received that, and we also received the street sweeper, because both of those were not expected till late this year or early next year. So
Yes.
I'm glad that we got both of them. So can I have a motion to approve?
I think we had that.
We have a motion. All in favor?
Uh,
Reports and discussions, we had a discussion on best practices.
That's just a requirement to be on the or that the governing body is aware that we did complete the best practices survey. We did meet the minimum requirement. We were over and above the number of points that we needed in order to keep our state aid.
And this was a formal report or an informal?
It's required, DCA requires it every year.
DCA requires it, so it was sent to the DCA.
Yeah, we have to file it with them. Mhm.
Moving over to Joe for the engineer's report.
Yeah, I just have a couple of quick updates. Contract for Martin Road and for Hogback Phase 1, and code right signatures, I'm going to review them, and send them ready for authorization by the township. So once they're signed, we can, we're unlikely to get construction this year, I don't think, anything major anyway, things, some minor things on, like margin, Hogback drainage kind of things, but nothing paving wise, I don't think we'll get this year, so. But nonetheless, we can have our pre-construction meetings and whatnot over the next couple of months. So we're prepared to go as soon as we're racing fall.
I was going to ask.
For phase 2, we still didn't hear about the new round of grants. They should be any day. I'm not sure why it's taking so long to do it, but at some point they will have the 2026 award. For item 7, there is this path that connects Penn Lane into the park, into Penn Lane Park. We're working on the design plan for that. We'll get that over this winter, and also be ready for construction as soon as we're ready. Item number 9 for public works that we were talking about. I had a call into Green Acres to review our subdivision plan. When we talked about when we met, step 1 really is to do a subdivision to isolate the Green Acres property, or the Green Acres portion of the current property to its own property. That's going to be step 1 before you're able to really do anything with the other properties. So we're preparing a minor subdivision plan that we'll review with Green Acres and get them on board, and then we can move forward with that process so that we don't, regardless of what happens with Public Works, still need to do that either way.
Makes sense.
So we're working on that, and that's what happened.
You think you'll be able to schedule a meeting with them?
I'm hoping so, yeah. I'm trying to do it as quickly as we can. There's no point waiting for it, like we talked about, we'll take care of that right away.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you. Okay, I think there's an item from, or the Bullock Mansion.
Yeah, I asked Karen to add it. I know we had some conversations at the committee about starting to take our executive session conversations out into the public about the Bullock Mansion. I don't know, Dominic, could you give just a brief overview of kind of where we're at?
Yeah, generally, yes. I can have more detail at the next meeting. I don't have everything with me, but from my recollection, and please correct me if any of these dates are wrong, because this goes back now a little over 2 years. So with the Bullock Mansion, there was a request for the demolition of the Bullock Mansion by Cross Point Church, where the mansion is located on their property. That was referred to the HPC back in 2023. They did go through the mechanism of reviewing that request through the criteria that's established in Chapter 123 of the Township Code regarding potential demolitions of historic structures. They went through that analysis. Ultimately, they came up with a report that they were requesting or recommending that it be denied, the demolition be denied, the permit. Now, the permit is issued by the zoning and construction official for the town. The permit's not granted or denied by the planning board, just so everyone's aware of how that works. So ultimately, how our ordinance currently reads, which we're the process, as everyone's heard over the past few meetings and months, that we're amending the Chapter 123 Historic Preservation Commission ordinance for the township. But how it currently reads is that the planning board would either grant or deny the demolition permit, which is not legally accurate. And they would have to ultimately, if they were to do that, would make a recommendation to Glenn, who would then deny the permit. Which, of course, if that were to happen, the property owner or any interested party would have the ability to appeal that decision to the Superior Court within 45 days of that decision being made. However, the planning board at its meeting back at that time in 2023 postponed the matter. There was talk, and what's in our ordinance, it does permit, and in the New Jersey Municipal Land Use Law, it does permit the planning board to postpone a potential demolition for up to 8 months, but I believe our ordinance says 6 months. And they were going to invoke that postponement to see if there was some other mechanism to try to save the mansion in case it was going to be demolished. At that point, Cross Point reached out to the township and asked if they could have a meeting with the township to discuss this issue and see if there was any other opportunities or mechanisms for the township to save the mansion if the township was going to step in and try to do something on its own to do that. We had those meetings back in 2023. Ultimately, as a result of those meetings, there was an agreement made where Cross Point did permit or was agreeable at that time to allow the township much more than the statutory 8-month period to seek other avenues to the tune of, I believe, the agreement, which was authorized in the public meeting. I believe it's 26 months for the township to seek alternative ways to potentially move the mansion and to a different location if it could, save it. The initial first 8 months of the 26-month period that's in the agreement, the township had more options. They could have tried to obtain it by condemnation or other legal measures. But after the first 8 months expired, the agreement says that for the last 18 months of the 26-month period, that the only means of saving the Bullock Mansion would be by relocating the mansion. So Cross Point at that point was again working with the township and is still working with the township and allowing the township to try to seek alternative ways. However, once the 26-month period expires, which I believe is around April of 2026, somewhere in that time frame, it's either April or May, if I recall. And we have not, or the township hasn't taken any action to move the mansion to a different location, then the agreement does permit the issuance of that demolition permit. However, I will note too, as I noted earlier, that the issuance of the demolition permit still can be appealed by any interested party to the Superior Court. So it doesn't forego any type of due process or anything like that. But it was a mechanism back at that time where I think it was a belief that ultimately the permit was going to be issued, and we wanted to try to obtain as much time as possible for the township to try to save the mansion. And having those discussions with Crosspoint and them ultimately agreeing to this 26-month period, I thought was in the best interest. And the Township Committee was in agreement, and we signed that agreement. So we're in the midst of that agreement. It runs till April or May of 2026. And during this time, I think, there's been some effort. I don't know, full effort, what effort's been made totally, but there's been efforts made to try to find alternative locations to move the mansion. I know it's a costly measure. We've had discussions about that, but that's where we are. You're welcome.
So just to kind of move it forward, because I think irrespective of the legal technicalities, ultimately this is going to come down to whether or not there is somewhere private money that will help facilitate that move. I think we had discussed it. I don't recall whether it was public or private, but I think it's fine to talk about it. I don't think that this committee had the appetite for spending the money that it would cost to move it and then house it. I mean, we're talking about, easily high 6 figures, maybe even 7 figures. And I think the conversation last time was, okay, what can we do to try to entice private equity to get involved? Because I think that's the most realistic way that we can save it. And one thing that we had discussed last time, as I recall, is that we need the cooperation of the church, because as the owner, they're really the only ones that can shop it. Or, our hands are tied. We can't really, we're almost a third party at this point. We can't really shop their property. So I think that's my recollection of where we left off in practical terms, is getting the church's cooperation to help entice private equity to get involved.
Did you talk about exploring the grant funding options to this restoration?
Yeah, and I think there are grants that could help subsidize private equity. I think it's going to be really hard to find grants for the whole thing. But yeah, Denise is right. It brings us back to the same issue, which is that we're not the owner, the property owner. So there's not much that we could do. We need them to pursue that, or at least their permission to allow us to do it.
And I don't think they would necessarily withhold that permission. They seem to be pretty cooperative throughout the process. But I do recall at least seeing one estimate of trying to move the mansion, and it was, I thought, near $1 million to move it.
Right, and that doesn't include the property that it would sit on.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay. We are done with this. Go on to the next section, report of administration. From my perspective, there was just one thing that I wanted to bring to the attention of the police chief. There was a resident who complained in the morning that they received spam calls from someone which had the Chesterfield police number showing up on the phone. And it was for asking from some USCIS affidavit from California for this person. And this was pleasantly, I would say not pleasantly, you're shocked as to why is somebody calling from the Chesterfield police office for that. And he realized it's a fake call. So finally he did cut that line. And I did ask that individual to make sure that they do call and lodge a complaint with Aggie so that you can follow up. But it seems that number called them back again and he didn't answer. So somebody is using the Chesterfield police line, at least number, and making spam calls. I don't know what we can do about it, but that is just something that we should be aware of and maybe tell people how to make sure it's a genuine or not a genuine call. I don't know how to handle the situation, but it is happening.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for the heads up. If you have the information for that party,
Yeah.
and if you can pass it along to me, I'll follow up in the meantime and get something out.
I'll do follow up.
Both the general warning message.
If I may, Mayor, real quick, I just kind of piggybacking off that, I just want to bring to the public and the committee's attention too, that I've heard just recently too from other municipalities that there's a different type of scam going on in terms of development applications. So somebody's getting a hold or looking at the public notices for certain applications that are pending before different boards, zoning boards, planning boards. And then they're taking that information and they're making it look like they're the municipality's planning department or zoning department. And they're sending correspondence to the applicants saying, oh, it's Chesterfield's, planning department, and you have an application pending for a variance or whatever. Fees, or you owe additional funds, and please click on this link to deposit your funds into the township account, which is obviously not the township's account or anything like that. But that is happening throughout a bunch of municipalities, and it's just recently, but I wanted to publicly get that out there in case anyone sees anything like that. Always know that, I'm sure with Chesterfield and pretty much all municipalities, that you can't make payments like that for these types of applications over the internet. Like it should be by check only, and it should be made out to the municipality. So you don't have any of that, but I just wanted to bring that out.
Should we publish that on our Facebook page so it reaches a broader audience?
That's as possible. Making the public aware is the best thing we can do.
I wonder if there should be something on the application.
We can add something to that for the escrow.
Checks
Mhm.
written out to, yeah. that would be good.
Good
Most
idea.
likely people that are going to be scammed are the people that are putting in applications for
Mhm.
variance or whatever.
Right.
So if they see that in advance.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, but in terms of this particular incident, I'm not aware of this person reporting today, not to say it didn't happen, but I'm not aware. So we would want to follow up to gather some more information.
Yeah, and I'll provide that information to you. Okay, moving on to comments from the township committee.
I just wanted to ask, because I know the shops are talking about having an event, and were they going to do road closures? To approve that?
That was withdrawn late this
They're
afternoon.
not going to have that event?
No.
Okay, thank you.
In the spring sometime, they'll let us know.
Okay, great, thank you.
That's what she said.
The
sidewalk.
Oh.
Holiday.
All those shops. Okay.
I know we had the, rigid plastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, you already heard how much, do you know how much they collected?
We got a lot. We had a lot was taken in, a huge stack hauler, then we had campaign signs, so thank you to everybody who brought that. Yeah, no, we're doing it twice a year and every time we get a lot, all over. So it's a really-
That's a dumpster
was
still being
full,
and I It's just. Yeah, it's still.
Yeah, I went close to closing and, yeah, our signs, campaign signs was more than.
More camping signs.
10 feet of those. Okay, moving on to reports from administration.
I've got some items for executive session. What I want to put on. Today, Troy and I met with tree tenders. Roseanne Greenberg, Dan Brown, and Larry Cruiser came in. They are eager to get to work to benefit the municipality. So we're going to work with them, starting out mostly in the parks in the Old York Village. They're going to start doing some tree maintenance, some cleanup work, and it'll benefit everybody. It'll get our trees looking really good, and it'll take some of the load off of our public works employees. They've all been trained. They've had their own training session. They've got their own equipment. If you remember, they got a $2,000 grant to buy their own equipment. They're more than qualified. The folks that we met with today are really experts. So just want to let you know that that'll be happening soon.
Anybody from the administration? Okay. Then can I have a motion to open it for public comments?
Motion.
All in favor?
Scott Early, 693 Monmouth Road. Been in residence since 2008. Since then, there's been 7 accidents from my home. Since March 18th, there have been 4 catastrophic accidents at the intersection of Sykesville Road and Monmouth Road. The first incident on March 18th involved 2 different vehicles running the red light, resulting in a collision over to the vehicle that was my vehicle parked in my driveway. That ended up in my garage. June 25th, was a vehicle ended up on its roof at the intersection. Then on August 19th, another red light violation occurred, meaning the one individual being airlifted out to injuries. And then most recently, this past Saturday morning at 6:42 a.m., we were working again, another accident. Based on my observations that the light is at the intersection transitioning a little too rapidly, often those vehicles on both ends, both roads, disregarding the red light at their effort to do yellow. I also witnessed making red turns without ultimately the red light on Sykesville Road along with various other infractions. I understand Monmouth Road is a county road. I've been in reach and contact with the county, no response. It's something that something has to be taken care of, something has to be done, especially with these past 4. It's 235 days that these 4 have passed. There's something that Sykesville can be done because that's still under your jurisdiction. It's not short of anything that Chief Stevenson's done, and those officers have been out there every time, and I've seen it all the time. I just don't know what needs to be done, but something needs to be done. I do have photographs and my statement for the committee if they will take them. I'm available anytime for questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Susie Mann, 16 Chesterfield Crossings Road. Questions for Denise. Dorothy Buzo, did you make any?
I called her, I haven't heard back.
Okay, all right. So recently in the past couple meetings, one was the HPC. I asked them, I sent them an email about historic designations of 2 properties because under section 128, that's part of their responsibilities as Dominic knows. And I haven't gotten a response back. I'm not sure how to track that. And secondly, I sent an email to the planning board from the October 21st meeting. The planning board lawyer Doug Kleinhold indicated that my house was designated as historic, and I asked in my email under section 123.9A, how was it ever considered for the historic designation? Under 123.9B, I never got certified mail and designation thereof, and I was never informed of the significance and consequences of such designation afforded, and which would afford me an opportunity to test it. And so I never got a response back from them. So I would like a response to both of those items. I don't know how you track these things, because it seems like things just take a long, long time. And I don't know. I'm glad we passed the best practices, but sometimes I wonder, because a lot of times I don't get responses in a timely manner, and, you know, it just would be nice to know. I've been asking how my house was designated for 3 years now, and I still haven't gotten an answer under that particular ordinance that's been there for 3 years, and nobody's ever looked to see how it's designated. That's how I feel about that. Okay. And I want that stripping from the minutes from the planning board. If they can't tell me how my house was designated, I don't want the final statement saying my house was historically. I want that stripping from the meeting minutes, because that would
which could be appealed.
Okay. So then, just asking, because I was out of the loop for this, and I don't know if it was ever said in public comment, was it ever discussed whether they would agree to subdivide from the original property so they could sell it outright as a separate situation? Subdivision.
My recollection is it was discussed
I
and
think it
they
was.
were not in favor of it. They want it gone for whatever their purposes are.
And they've never disclosed what that purpose is.
I don't think they, I think we assumed part.
I think we
But I
assumed
don't
that. I don't know if it was
think
ever
they
stated.
said.
So if the assumptions parking lot, the zoning doesn't comply with that at the moment, we need additional zoning variances or anything additional. Why wouldn't that be happening all at the same time?
Maybe they're not, I can't speak for them, but
No, I'm just
maybe it's
saying
not in their
in
plans to
order-
do right now.
in order-
Maybe it's something that,
We need to know that in the.
No, because whatever my understanding, I'm not an attorney, so whatever they do with that property.
right. It's not part of like a proposed application to do something with the land.
Okay, so they just want to get rid of it. Grants wise, there is I don't know if it's necessarily a grant, but it's an awareness situation. New Jersey Preservation does the 10 most endangered properties.
Right.
We can get a nomination out for that. There's also New Jersey National Trust, I'm sorry, New Jersey Trust. May not be able to be enough to move it, but it should at least be applied for and researched, so we know that we went through all our due diligence.
I believe it was put on that list years ago when when they were first.
I've never seen it, so I'm just letting you know that. I don't know, maybe they didn't accept it for the nominee, but I
I'll
haven't seen
double
it.
check, because I'm pretty
And
sure it
for-
was back when they first applied for the permit.
For application purposes, when you go to apply with the state, if there's any public funds going to be any of the partial, there's a requirement that it's a historic property. It's an extra step that happens. So just for due diligence purposes, that we know that we exhausted all possibilities, I appreciate it. We go through that process. Okay, that way we have public record that we intended to do with everything we could. Okay. Thank you
Thanks,
very
Larry.
much.
Anybody online?
Don't see it. No.
Can I have a motion to close public comments?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Just had one question here for the intersection of Sykesville and Monmouth Road. That portion of Sykesville, is it Chesterfield or is it North Hanover? Mansfield, which
No, that intersection is just.
that's Chesterfield. And then what can we as a town take action on?
So I don't dispute anything that Mr. Hurley said. He and I know each other. We've met under some unfortunate circumstances at that intersection many times over the years. So, yeah, it's disappointing to hear that he hasn't gained any traction with the county. I would just ask that you give him some time to look into it further. Maybe speak with our other professionals, including Joe, just in terms of Sykesville and what, if anything, we can look at for our portion of the roadway. And perhaps maybe I can try and make some contacts at the county myself, see if that carries any weight, or just to see what, if anything, there is we can
So just like because Mr. Earl mentioned it might be something like who looks at that? Like if the light is improperly, I mean, would that be the county? Would that be, I mean, how is that done?
Yeah, well, that's the first I've heard of.
Right,
the
no,
light cycling, so, I mean, I'm just gonna make my officers aware that that complaint was made, have them put eyes on it, right away, but obviously I'll bring forward that complaint to the county as well. I'm not aware of, that's not the dispute we're saying. That's the first
yeah, I
thing.
just wondered how that, I mean, I know nothing about lights, so if that's, like, how do you, there must be some kind of an engineering
Yeah.
process that they go through for that, right?
It's the county that sets the timing of the lights based on stopping distances, speed limits and things like that, determines how long that should be. I'm sure the county can go to Westboro and run that calculation to verify that the timing is, it is a calculation that they do based on a bunch of different factors.
Mike, if you want to have the township committee write a letter on behalf of, requesting that they look at the lights, that they look at this whole, I think that's something.
Jury, yeah. Well, I've personally investigated them over.
It might be site distance to see the lights.
Probably coming from Wrightstown, maybe?
Yeah.
I can speak, I agree with looking at coming from the Wawa, that's.
There's a time where we believe even the time of day, position of sun, on roads in east-west road, so you get sunrise, sunset, depending on the time of day, it's right in line with the roadway. There's any number of factors involved. Yeah, but we can look further and see what.
Yeah, because we'll be in support of sending something to the county officially saying that we request they look at that signal because I certainly see that. Right next to the garage. I'm like, he's really fortunate that did not destroy his garage. So,
House better since 1700. It was the original, general store for, like, so. The house there before the road was there, so.
yeah, so, yeah,
It's 15 feet off the road.
well, thank you. I know we need to have an executive session, so can I have a motion to go into executive session?
That'll be resolution 11-07.
And would we be taking any action?
No, that's all more.
Okay, in that case,
Motion.
Second.
all in favor? Thank you, everybody, for coming.
I'll get him to sign.